Welcome to this week's episode on the Happiness Happens podcast. I am so grateful that you are here, and I know that this conversation is going to be super helpful and beneficial for you. I was thinking about what topics I wanted to talk about for my next solo episode, and I love these solo conversations because truly it's how I started the podcast so many years ago. What I love about the solo episodes is it allows me to give you some insight and a different perspective when it comes to some of the most challenging things that we face with on a daily basis. Over the last few years, and then some, we have been tested so deeply as a collective, as humanity, and as individual people. A lot of the times, it feels like everyone else around us is doing so many different things, is doing so much better, and is in such a different place than we are. And we can often wonder why we're not there too. I know for my own self, I sat in this a lot back in last summer. And if you're listening to this now, that would have been summer of 2021. I was constantly comparing myself to every single person around me. And I didn't really know why I was doing that because I had so much amazing stuff to celebrate for my own self. The challenge is a lot of the times when we set goals for ourselves, we set them obviously with the intention of completing them. But what happens is we end up achieving that goal and then maybe we're not satisfied with the outcome, or we are satisfied with it and we're on to the next thing immediately. Very rarely do we sit in the celebration of what is, who we are, where we are, and why we're here. We don't always take a moment to pause and to take a step back and to look around us and be grateful for all of the different things that we have. And what happens is when we do that, we're not giving ourselves the opportunity to really sit in all the amazing things that we have created and all of the absolutely abundant things that we have in our lives. I know I speak from a place of privilege when I say this, because not everyone has access to all of the same information, and not everyone gets to learn on the same level as each other. So I do recognize the privilege in even being able to heal, to even being able to question what we do when we're not feeling inspired, and to even be able to recognize that there are things that other people have that we want, and being able to take those emotions and to transmute them into something that will actually help us in our everyday lives. I think what strikes me the most here is that, yes, everything that we do in our lives is a choice. We get to have a choice every single day. But sometimes that choice isn't really a fair choice because we're not all given the same set of circumstances and we're not all given the same opportunities. Yes, a lot of people can just say, go out and create the opportunity that you want. But in order to do that, you need to be able to access that part within yourself, that unwavering faith, that glimmer of hope within you that knows and that tells you that everything that you're doing is contributing to a better you. And what I mean by this is that I really just want you to think about, all of the emotions that you have. We get to have those emotions because not everyone does. And so I like to always approach these types of conversations with that perspective because ultimately at the end of the day, we're all such different people. Everyone is so different, right? How can we expect the same thing from one person over here and from another person over here when we all have completely different lived experiences, completely different perspectives, and ultimately we live completely different lives, right? So that's a little bit off of the tangent that I wanted to go on today, but this episode today is focusing on what to do when you're not inspired. Because you can have all of the amazing and beautiful things around you that you want, that you've dreamt of, that you have goals of achieving. But what happens when that thing doesn't give you the fulfillment that you want? What happens when that thing actually becomes more of a burden than a source of joy? And what happens when that moment that you were supposed to be loving and being so grateful for and so appreciative of just really brings you so much negative energy? A lot of this comes from the feeling of being uninspired. And so we set our goals out of inspiration. And then a lot of the times those goals can turn into work that maybe we didn't actually want for ourselves. And this is why I think it's so important when we talk about a life goal or a life dream or whatever, have that life dream, have that life goal, but also be able to change it. Be ready to transform it. Be open to the possibility of it being something different. So, to get specific in this episode today, we're talking about what to do when you're uninspired. And what I think is so important about this is even just being able to recognize that that particular thing or the particular moment that you're in right now is leaving you feeling uninspired, and that's okay. I want you to firstly just recognize and honor those moments and this feeling and this perspective because it's okay to not be inspired. You don't need to be on 24/7. You don't need to have all of the ideas, all of the solutions, and all of the emotional capacity to help other people all the time. You need to be able to recognize those moments within yourself, those moments of uninspiration, and those moments of wanting to choose something different and not being sure of where you want to go to next. So, my first thing here, my first point today is that being uninspired is okay. You're allowed to be uninspired. In fact, those are sometimes the best spots to be in because when you're uninspired, you look at things and you reevaluate, you reassess, you take a different look, you look from a different perspective. And what I love so much about this is that when you're in that spot, when you're in that moment, you can just be. You can just be and be present and be understanding of why you feel that particular way. You learn about yourself, right? You get to learn something new. Why is this thing that I thought that I wanted so much bringing me so much lack of joy, right? Why do I feel inspired in this moment? I need to figure out why. And so that can be your first clue, and that allows you to dig a little bit deeper, that allows you to go in and look at and say, okay, is there something here that needs to be healed? Is there something that's trying to come up to the surface? What is my soul trying to tell me right now? What is spirit trying to tell me right now? And you can look at it and say, okay, is this the right path? Am I on the right path? It's that little tiny clue that maybe you are not doing what you are wanting to be doing every single day. And that's okay. So it gives you this opportunity to recalibrate and to try again and to just be in this present moment. The next thing that I want you to do in those moments of inspiration is to really sit in what brings you joy. Think about the things that fill up your cup. Is it going for a walk? Is it being in nature? Is it reading a good book? Is it catching up with a friend? Is it having a FaceTime with someone you love? Or is it, listening to your favorite podcast, hanging out with your dog, being with your spouse, hanging out with your kids, playing a family board game, or whatever? What are those little moments of joy in your life every single day that you can dive deeply into, that you can feel very present in? Those are the moments that will start to shift your perspective. Because what happens is when we're feeling uninspired, that can be followed with feeling very down, feeling not good enough, and trying to justify, who we are as people, which can make us feel even worse. So when you can cling to those tiny moments of joy and those little things in your day, every single day that make you smile, that is what you want to invite more of into your life. That is the energy that will start to take over within you. And then you'll be able to take that energy and then transmute it outwards. Being in nature, moving around, seeing things from a different perspective, going for a drive, changing your scenery. These are all things that are so important when it comes to shifting your energy and finding those little moments of joy. So that is my second point for you today. The next one is I want you to think about the things that make your soul feel good. What are the practices that you do every single day or maybe every single week that make you feel joyful inside? What lights your spirit up, right? Is it talking to someone that you love? Is it being on a podcast? Is it, tackling that little piece in your business that you've really wanted to tackle for a long time? Is it going for a walk? Is it calling a friend? Kind of similar to what I was saying before, but this is more for your soul. What lights you up from the inside out, and how do we access and have more of that? The last piece here that I want you to think about is what can you do today to help yourself feel a little bit more grounded? Do you need to put on a meditation? Do you need to maybe just shut the world off and shut off technology for a little bit? Do you need to bring in those moments of joy to help you feel grounded? Do you need to go plant your feet firmly in the ground? What is it that makes you feel grounded? And what is it that makes you feel happy? When you can find that groundedness in your life, it allows you to take yourself out of the moment that you're in with the over analyzing thoughts and the anxious moments and all of the different chaos that goes on in our mind every single day. When you ground yourself, you allow yourself to stop. And this is actually something that I tell a lot of my clients too, especially when we're talking about thoughts that are just continuous and things that never stop coming in and out of our mind. I actually just say sometimes, just yell stop, right? I don't want this feeling right now. Stop. And it's so easy to just take that and to just yell stop out loud if you have to, and to ground yourself in the present moment. When you're able to do that, it gives you this amazing opportunity to look at, again, what's within you that's making you feel uninspired. So these are my 3 ways that I would recommend for you to start to look at to find that inspiration again in your life every single day. But what I really want you to take home from this episode is that it's okay to feel uninspired. It's okay to have ebbs and flows in our emotions, and it's okay to have ebbs and flows in our journey. That's what makes us human. That's what makes us who we are. And not every single day is going to be sunshine and rainbows. I really want you to think about this, that if you're feeling uninspired, it's okay. The world is not going to fall apart because you're feeling uninspired today. And especially if you're a business owner or an entrepreneur, it's okay and it's necessary to take some time for yourself. In fact, I encourage it. You have to take some time for yourself. If all you do is serve your clients, serve your business, and take care of everyone else except for you, at the end of the day, there's going to be nothing left to fill your own cup. There's not going to be any energy left after taking care of your family. And ultimately, nothing in your life can work if you are not taking care of yourself. It's so important that you are making sure that you are prioritizing your own health and your own well-being. So if you're feeling uninspired today, this is my invitation to you. I'd love to know what resonates the most with you with this episode. Be sure to connect with me on Instagram. It's at Happiness Happens Podcast, or you can find me on my personal Instagram at Simona with 2 underscores Costantini. And you can also find me on my website, simonacostantini.com. Drop me a line. I would love to hear from you. And if you're watching this on YouTube, please let me know in the comments what resonates the most with you. I hope you have an absolutely beautiful day, wherever you are, whatever you're doing. Thank you so much for spending this time with me. I'm so grateful for your time, and I'm grateful that these words reached you in a moment when you needed them. Remember, today and always, that happiness happens when you're least expecting it.